What is going on, Redskins fans? This is another video coming at you from Redskins. Hail to the Redskins. Before we get started, please subscribe to this channel, hit the notification bell, get videos like this all the time, and if you feel compelled, hit the like button and leave a comment down below. Today's video will be about all of our off-season moves, from beginning of free agency to all the way up till the schedule got released today is everything we're going to talk about. So I'm going to recap everything. Give a grade for our off-season so far, and give a way too early prediction on next season. Plus, I'll probably complain a little bit about some things, but I'll get into that a little bit later. So, start off with first off-season acquisition for the Washington Redskins was hiring and signing, whatever you want to call it, Ron Rivera. A+. Ron Rivera is a good coach. He's a leader of men. He's come in here and pretty much overnight done a complete culture switch. So I'm very excited about that. And in doing so, getting him, he also got Jack Del Rio to come in and be a defensive coordinator. With the talent we have, switching to a 4-3, I think is genius. If we'd have played 4-3 the last couple years, we'd have been in the playoffs. Not last year, but the year before with Alex Smith. We'd have won probably 2-3 more games, and we'd have been in the playoffs even with him breaking his leg. So, yeah, 4-3 is genius. You got to look at the personnel we have and say, you know what, this is too much talent to not play a 4-3. So I think that's why they're doing that. And then the guys who drafted definitely play into that. And also we got Scott Turner, so that's like a B+ on Scott Turner's part. But Jack Del Rio and the coach, A+. So we started off the offseason very well with that. Then we move on to free agency. So we got a couple signings of free agency. I'm just going to go down the list that's listed here. Redskins got Rich Rogers and Logan Thomas at tight end. Not exactly thrilled about that, either one of those. Rich Rogers can't stay healthy. Logan Thomas is a project. I don't think right now I don't want a project. I want someone that's good. But there's not a lot of risk because they can be gone in like a year. There's nothing really about it. The only risk you're having really is you could be providing Haskins with no weapons because they can't stay healthy or they're not good. So that's really the biggest risk with these guys. I'm not going to grade each individual pick, per se. I'm not going to grade each individual one. I'm just going to grade the overall how we did in this section of offseason. Running back, we got Darius Geis and we got J.D. McKissick. I'm sorry, not Darius Geis. Peyton Barber, sorry. Peyton Barber is not bad. He'll get you yards. He's a starter in this league. He's not super athletic. Doesn't have any overwhelming capabilities, but he will get you about 3.5 yards a carry. He'll move the sticks and he'll run hard. He's kind of like who was that running back we had a couple years ago? Rob Kelly? Yeah, Rob Kelly he's kind of like Rob Kelly. And I don't like Rob Kelly personally. I think you need a more versatile back than that. I'd rather have like an Alfred Morris type, who was he was still a bruiser, but he can at least, he could run when he had to. But it doesn't really hurt us because it's not a long-term deal. None of these are long-term deals except for one. I'll get to that here in a minute. So I'm not too worried too much about the Washington Redskins and what they did in the offseason. So, yeah, that's it. A lot of the things we did this year, we can basically fill spots this year, and then we can dump it all next year if we don't want to. And basically, we can hit the reset button without hitting the reset button, if that makes sense. Cornelius Lucas, offensive tackle. I actually think this was actually a pretty good pickup for the Redskins. He was a starter last year for the Bears. He could either be our left tackle or he can play right tackle, and we can bench or get rid of Morgan Moses. Speaking of right tackle, we also got rid of, finally, Trent Williams. That was part of the free agency market. We traded him for a fifth this year and a third next year. Probably not what we could have got, but useless Bruce Allen. Bruceless pretty much botched the whole situation. And that's pretty much, I'm not going to get too much into that. I'll go to that here in 2 seconds. Defensive end Nate Orchard, we re-signed Brandon Sheriff to not re-signed, but we franchise tagged him. I don't know, a couple of the draft picks to me kind of stick out as to what we might be doing with Brandon Sheriff, and I'll get to that here in a minute. We signed Kendall Fuller. That was actually probably one of the better signings we got. It's probably the best signing, to be honest. There are other guys out there we could have gotten, But like I said, we franchise tag Brandon Sheriff. We signed Wes Schweitzer. He's an offensive lineman, plays guard. It's just depth. He might start, but he might not. He basically is an adequate starter in the league compared to like getting a rookie in like the late rounds to play. So he could play if we need him to. We could start if we need him to. He's got experience. The Redskins also re-signed John Bostic, middle linebacker. We'll see how he plays out. I think he's an adequate linebacker. I don't think he's a super world or all talented. That's probably what we're going to be pursuing next year's draft. Is some kind of really good middle linebacker or corner. Like I said, Wes Schweitzer already said that. We lost Eric Flowers. That was one of the biggest losses off this season. I don't understand why we didn't pay him money. I think we wanted him to pay $6. He wanted $8 million a year. I don't know why we didn't meet him there. Thomas Davis, who is a good player. He's just old. He's an old linebacker. Not a bad pickup. He's definitely he's a locker room pickup when it comes to culture. Kevin Pierre-Louis, I actually don't hate that. He's a linebacker. He used to play for the Bears. Sean Davis is actually one of the better pickups we have. $5 million a year for 1 year. And he used to play for Maryland. He's not a bad player. The only reason the Pittsburgh Steelers don't want him is for two reasons. Well, I'd say it was not like a bad reason, but the first reason was he was injured last year, so they picked up Mika Fitzpatrick. So it didn't make sense for them to keep him, so he became expendable. I think if he's healthy, he could be a very big asset to our defense, especially playing alongside Landon Collins. Already went over J.D. McKissick. Logan Thomas already went over him. Caleb Brantley, he's a defensive tackle. We basically signed him. He's not going to play much. There's a lot of defensive linemen we have that he's going to have to split time with. He might not even make the roster. But with the 4-3, they might be prioritizing having more defensive linemen, so he might make the roster. Cody Latimer wasn't a bad pickup. Adding him to our receiving core really was helpful. Ronald Darby, injury prone. If you want to talk about injury prone, that's the one to talk about right there. But okay, so oddly enough to say, the Washington Redskins, I'd say free agency we're about a B-. We didn't do any boom like any big free agency. If you saw my video, I had a completely different way I'd have done free agency if I was the GM. I'd have gone heavy into getting rid of Trent right away. Anything we can get rid of him. Take that cap space, put it towards other positions, re-sign Brandon Sheriff, or let go of Brandon Sheriff, and go sign somebody else who's younger, who's less injury prone, so on and so forth. So I had a different plan, but I understand his thought process here. The Redskins at this moment, the moment I'm talking to you right now, I think have $36 million in cap space right now. Next year, the salary cap goes up to $240 million, and if we don't spend the money this year, it rolls over to that. So we're gonna have like $276 million next year, if I understand the ruling correct. It's a lot of money to be spending on football players, and we can probably get a lot of better high-end players. And I think Ron Rivera is looking at that, saying, "Listen, all these young guys are coming off these contracts from this draft, and we can get them for not even a premium, and we still have a lot of cap space." So Redskins are gonna have we have $36 million right now, and Alex Smith comes off the books next year. We got rid of Trent. We don't have to worry about him anymore. So we have a lot of money to spend next year. So I give it a B- because none of these guys are long term except for Kendall Fuller. Everyone else, if they have a 2-year deal, the second year doesn't cost anything. It's like no money guaranteed. So yeah, I'd say the best signing this offseason was, for sure, Kendall Fuller. The second best signing was Sean Davis. The third best signing to me, I would say, is Cornelius Lucas. And like I said, I said Sean Davis, and then I think Cody Latimer is probably the next one. It's not going to be a number 1 or 2 option. He's going to be a 3 or 4 option, so it's not bad for those options. I know some teams have been a number 2 option, and it's just not a number 2 option. So far we've done A+ on coaching, B- on free agency. Now I got to go through 2 other things before I get to the draft. 1, I got to give Dan Snyder credit. Dan Snyder finally realized the error of his ways and decided to get a coach, get a big name coach, and take a step back. I think he realized this is how Dan Snyder's always run his team. And love him or hate him, he wants to win. He just does not. He wasn't doing it the right way. He's doing it like a businessman. And he was treating this like an NBA team. In the NBA, if Michael Jordan was reincarnated and came out of college right now and got signed by any team, that team is an immediate contender because they have one of the best two-way players ever. They a person that can play defense and offense. If you hear that noise, that was my cat. She's outside the door trying to get in. She's not getting in. I'm not going to let her in, but that's what that noise was. And on basketball, one player can affect the game substantially more than any other sport, because if you're Michael Jordan, you can play the other team's best player and defend them, so you can limit the scoring of that player. You can do all the scoring yourself on your own team, because the way basketball is designed, you can score every time. And you can really influence the game at a much higher level than football or baseball or soccer even. But with football, it's way too many variables. It's too many. It's a big team game. You don't play both ways, so you can't impact the game both ways. Football games you can scheme ways around players. It's the hardest one to scheme around is a quarterback, which is why in football, let's say you have a good defensive end, like Chase Young this year. Luckily, we have a good defensive line altogether. But let's say we just had Chase Young, he's our best player. Teams can run to the other side. Teams can try to double team Chase Young. Teams can double team Chase Young and even have a guy chip on going out of the backfield, chip him. So there's ways to counter that. The only position you really can't counter in the NFL as much, except for getting to him, is a quarterback. A good quarterback can compensate for a lot of errors, and good coaching as well compensates for that. And I don't think that Dan Snyder understood that, and I think he's finally understanding that. He probably understood also that if he didn't stop interfering and he didn't get rid of Bruce Allen, that he wasn't going to get a good coach. He was going to keep going through the cycle of getting old coaches that are done and not coaches that are like prime coaches, like premium coaches. And I will say this: I don't actually dislike Jay Gruden. I will be someone to the day I die will stand up for Jay Gruden, that Jay Gruden did not get a fair shake to coach properly. When you compare what he was allowed to do compared to what even Bill Callahan was allowed to do, it's a huge difference in what the coaching, like the system, the circumstances that surrounded him. He was handcuffed. He was never able to pick his team. Bruce Allen would never get him to town he wanted. They were never on the same page. You can say what you want, but whenever we had Jay, even when we had injuries, we were competitive. We were a competitive football team. Last year is an aberration. If we started the season super hot, and I still to this day think the defense just sucks the air right out of our team with Greg Wineski's defense last year and then the years before that, and so on and so forth. I'm not going to sit here and make excuses for or apologize for Jay. I just know that me personally, I actually like Jay Gruden. I think he did a pretty adequate job at coaching. Could he have been better? Sure. Could we have been a lot worse under him? Absolutely. But the 1 year he got rid of Kirk Cousins, the ultimate locker room statistical issue guy, and we got a quarterback in there who was just focused on winning. We went 6-3, and we were on pace to blow out our division before Alex Smith hurt his leg, which Project 11 was amazing. I recommend everyone go watch it. I'm not going to get too much into it. I get very emotional about it. Alex Smith is one of my favorite players. The only jersey I've ever owned other than a Redskins jersey is an Alex Smith jersey from Kansas City because I like them that much. So I'm not getting too much into that. But we also got to get an A+ for addition by subtraction by getting rid of problems like Trent Williams and getting rid of like Bruce Allen. So addition by subtraction is actually something I think is very good. Especially because of what Bruce Allen basically put us through as fans and as a team. He was no good leadership, never accountable to anyone. Just pure arrogance is all I got to say about it. So, coming down off my soapbox. Okay, so now I've talked about coaching, front office changes. Other part of coaching is training staff. Jay Gruden, I would say this, has always had people injured. We had a huge injury problem, and we were still 7-9, 8-8 team with injuries. If we'd have had a healthy team, imagine how good we could have been with a healthy team. Just throwing that out there. Now I'm going to talk about free agency. The draft. So the draft, we actually did really good in the draft. Chase Young, right there, is an A+. So by getting Chase Young, the draft starts at an A-, and you have to do some really dumb things to go down from there. But I think you get an A+, and then you're at an A-, and you're just going to build from that. Antonio Gibson. I did not like this pick. And I'll tell you the reason why I didn't like this pick. One, we have 5 running backs right now. We don't need a 6th one. Okay, that's the first reason. Second reason is everyone was jerking off over his stats in college and how yards per catch and yards per touch. Okay, I get that, and I see those numbers, and those numbers do jump off the paper at you. Here's the thing. If he's so good, why did he only get 71 touches? There are running backs in the NFL right now that get almost 300 to 400 touches a year. And that's just running the ball, not even counting pass or catching the ball. Christian McCaffrey, I can bring up his numbers right now. Christian McCaffrey, if I go to his numbers and his amount of touches he had running the ball and catching the ball, give me 1 second. It's taking this minute to load, but I'll just keep talking. So Gibson, if he's so good, why did he not have more touches? And I think that's something to me that's a little bit more alarming. Why did he not have as many touches as he had when he was whenever he was with Memphis? There's got to be a reason for that. Not saying there's anything, like maybe he's injury prone. That's maybe something we don't know about. This is a different offseason. Last year, he had 287 touches by himself, running the ball. 287 touches. That's not counting receptions. That's not counting anything. 287 touches. Now, I know what you're probably thinking, like, wow, well, if you take his touches that he has, 287, or 71, and you increase that, he's just going to put up more yards. That's a fair point. Well, why didn't Memphis do that? That's kind of my point with that. If that's definitely a true statement, that's a good way to look at that. But if you look at it that way, you also got to think about why didn't Memphis do that. I have a feeling he might be injury prone. Maybe he just, I don't know. Maybe he just, I don't know the reason why. I don't know the reason why they wouldn't do that. I think that's bad coaching if you're asking me. If you're telling me that a player every time he touches the ball, let me get more accurate numbers from Pro Football Focus, because it'll tell me how many times he caught the ball too. Because 71 is not how many times he rushed the ball. He rushed the ball 33 and he caught 38 passes. That equals 71. That's where he got all of his stats from. Okay, so in 2019, he got 287 rushes, and he had receptions, 116. So Christian McCaffrey touched the ball 403 times. Yep, 403 times. So 403 times he touched the ball. And we're kind of getting excited about a guy who touched the ball 71 times. And I know Christian McCaffrey is like a beast, and he's completely different, and maybe it's a bad example to bring up. I'm just saying in a general sense, if you're that good, why are you only touching the ball 71 times? I'm not trying to be a Debbie Downer. I'm just looking at it from an analytical standpoint. Like, if you're getting as many yards as he got, and he got a lot of yards in those 71 touches, why didn't you touch the ball? I would have doubled that output if I was his coach. I'd have said, you're going to run the ball 100 times, and you're going to catch the ball 50. That's what I would have said. And you also got to look at the fact that he also didn't play in a tough division. His conference in college is not very good. It's the AAF, or the All-American Conference, AAC. And the best team in that conference, I think, is probably Houston. Houston had a couple good players on there. One I would have drafted over him was Josh Jones, I think. But regardless of that, I do think he's talented. I've seen his highlight film. He's definitely got some breakaway speed. He's definitely got some versatility. But my biggest point is I think we're overblowing about how effective he can be. Considering he doesn't have any stats before last year, none really, except for community college. And then last year, he had some good numbers. He had a lot of touchdowns, but 71 touches. Why did he only touch the ball 71 times? If he's that good. That's my reasoning behind that. So when I first saw it, I'm like, C. It's a C+, if that, because of this. Now, when you see the rest of the draft, it kind of makes sense because we got other positions we needed filled. So I give it like a B plus. Okay, I give him like a B plus because he is talented. And based on what I've seen, if he's healthy, it's definitely worth it. But I think there's something in the character of that guy, or something in there is missing. Just being out there, he's definitely stout. He's like, it's not like he's like a quick running back. He's not like a Chris Thompson type. He's not like that. He's like 230. He's 6 foot. He's got a good 40 time. He's fast. So he's talented. He's built like he's built like a football player. He's not just a fast guy. He's built like almost like Saquon Barkley or even Christian McCaffrey would be a good comparison. I'm just curious as to why, if he's that good. He only touched the ball 71 times. That really is concerning to me, considering there are guys in college football, whenever McCaffrey was in college, he touched the ball almost 250 times a year. So I'm just a little curious about that. But anyway, moving on. 4th round, Shadik Charles. That's an A+. He was a starting left tackle in the SEC. So right there, by doing that alone, you're gonna be pretty decent. And he was on the most potent offense in the history of the college football, protecting Joe Burrow, and he did a fantastic job protecting Joe Burrow against Alabama. He was really doing a good job protecting Joe, and I think he might actually start right out the gate, but he might not. We'll see. But I have a sneaky suspicion the Redskins might be trying to do that right out the gate, get him acclimated, get him protecting Haskins right out the gate. 4th round, later in the 4th round after Shadik Charles, Antonio Gandy Golden, another A+ pick. We needed a big receiver that can go up and get the ball, and also we need like an Anquan Bolden type. We have Speedster, we have McLaurin, we have Sims, we even have Gibson if you want to throw that out there. We need a big receiver. Now Harmon last year, who's about 6'3", is kind of a big receiver, and I think he'll still make the team and he'll be effective, but he's not quite on the same level as Antonio Gandy Golden. Antonio Gandy Golden is 6'4", can really go up and get it, has great hands, very athletic, not exactly breakaway speed, but he definitely what we need is a guy that can go. If we need to get 10 yards, he can go to 11-yard marker, take one good step in front of the defender, seal him off, and then catch the ball, bring it in, take the hit, and move the sticks. That's what we need, is a big target to do that. We don't need another flashy player. We need someone that can get those hard yards. And I think that's what Antonio Gandy Golden does. And we got him in the 4th round, one of the biggest steals in the draft. Now, the next 4 picks, I'm not exactly the happiest about. One of them I'm okay with, but the other 3, not so much. Keith Ishmael, center from San Diego. He can also play guard. I don't get why we did this. We needed, if anything, we needed to build depth at tackle. But I also thought we needed to get a tight end. We didn't get one tight end in this draft. Now we got one undrafted. I'll get to that in a minute. But we should have drafted at least 2 tight ends. The tight ends we have right now are not adequate. They're adequate. They'll be okay, but we need to get targets and talent around Haskins to see what we have. This has not helped that effort this year. There were guys available we could have got, whether at the receiving core, whether at tight end, whatever, or even another tackle or guard, that would have been better. Now this guy can play guard. And the only conceivable option that I can think of as to why we would go this route is maybe Ron Rivera is not sure if he wants to keep Brandon Sheriff. So he drafted a center/guard that he can play there, or that maybe that person can play center, Ishmael can play center, and they can move Chase Roullier to guard. Or they can use him to back up Chase Roullier and move the other center, Pierce Walker, to guard. So that might be the option they did that. I don't understand why they did it, though, because we already have 2 centers. We don't need a third. We might need another guard. That might be the option there. So that might be why. That's the only conceivable thing I can think of when it comes to this. Khalid Hudson, linebacker from Michigan. Khalid Hudson, linebacker out of Michigan. This one, I think we got him because we're going to play him at safety. Based on the number we gave him, it's more of a safeties number than linebacker. Now, I didn't mind him at linebacker, but I think he's going to play safety. The only problem I have with him at safety, though, is if he's a safety, he's going to be a box safety. So he would be a box safety, and then I don't know how that's going to pair well with Landon Collins. And Landon Collins has kind of been classified as a box safety too. So I don't think we're going to have 2 box safeties. But I don't know. But he's, of these 4 picks I'm going over right now, he's the best one. He's by far the best one. Cameron Curl. Okay, Keith Ismail was a C, in my opinion. Khalil Hudson, that's like a B minus. Cameron Curl, safety out of Arkansas. So you draft a linebacker who can play as a box safety, and then you go draft another safety. That makes complete sense. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. It's me being facetious. I don't understand that for the life of me. We had other needs that we needed to have other than drafting another safety. We have plenty of safeties on our roster. We have plenty of we have plenty of safeties on our roster. We didn't need another safety. We had a lot. We needed linebackers. So I understood the linebacking position, and having someone that can play kind of a hybrid both of line or safety or like another linebacker or whatever to cover somebody. I get that, but drafting a linebacker to play safety and then drafting a safety after that doesn't make any sense to me at all. This pick is like a C minus. And then the last pick is James Smith-Williams, defensive end out of NC State. This is a D. We don't need a defensive end out of NC State. We needed other positions filled. We have so many defensive ends on our roster. I don't understand it. We have Chase Young. We have Jonathan Allen. We have Montez Sweat. We have Kerrigan. Nate Orchard. We could probably play Ioannidis if we needed to. We have plenty of guys there that are talented enough that we don't need to get another guy in late rounds. Or Caleb Brantley could probably play defensive end if we needed him to. There's so many different guys we can have play that position. We don't need to put... we don't need to draft somebody there that will probably never see the field. That's a wasted pick because that guy's not going to make the team. So the draft overall, I give it an A minus because we got Chase Young, we got some good guys. The first 4 picks were good. The last 4 were not good in my opinion. We got one guy out of that might make team actually play, and the other guy out of that might be on the team because we're going to replace somebody in the future. But I really did not like the last 4 picks in the draft compared to the first 4. It's like first 4 were all A's, and other than one, the last 4 were all season D's. Except for one, I like that one a little bit better. So grading the draft, like I said, A minus. And then I gotta go another route and grade the undrafted free agent market. Undrafted free agent. So the first undrafted free agent we got was Thaddeus Moss. Love this pickup. I was yelling and screaming at my TV or at work that the Redskins needed to sign or draft a tight end, and I wanted to draft Thaddeus Moss. I thought that was where we were going. He went undrafted, so we ended up getting him undrafted. So it's actually played out pretty well. We didn't have to spend a pick on him. But we got lucky. I don't know why other teams didn't pick him. I think he has a foot issue. So he might not even play this year, but he's a good pickup. He didn't drop one pass last year. He's a good blocking tight end. He's got some pedigree. So this right here is an A+. The next player, quarterback Steven Montez. I actually like Steven Montez. If you saw one of my videos earlier this year, around January, middle of January, I did a draft where I thought Montez Sweat would be a heck of a good quarterback to pick up. One, he doesn't pose a threat to Haskins, and 2, so it wouldn't be risky to get in the 7th round or even undrafted. 2, I think he can develop into something decent. He's got the arm. He's got a lot of talent. He's just Colorado. You don't get a lot of talent around you, so you really can't. You don't know how someone does until they're put around better talent. So I like this one. At the very least, he's a practice squad player at the very best. If Haskins suck, we might look towards Steven Montez. It's a possibility. I'm not saying that's going to happen. Don't get me wrong. I don't think Haskins stinks. I actually like Haskins, but I think that might be a good route to look at, and that's why you always draft the quarterback, because you just never know. You never know when someone gets in the offense and it clicks. It just does. Then we signed wide receiver Isaiah Wright out of Temple. A lot of people think Isaiah Wright's going to make this team. I don't doubt he will. We might not be holding on to Cody Latimer, to be honest, with some of the receivers we drafted in the Missouri receiver, Jonathan Johnson. Now, all these pickups are pretty much A's across the board. I don't think any one of them is a bad pickup for undrafted. However, I got to give us like a B or a C plus for our undrafted free agency signings because we only got 4. There were so many different players out there we needed to get. We could have got Alex Taylor, an offensive lineman from South Carolina who was supposed to go like 5th or 6th round that fell out of the draft. Could have drafted him for depth at tackle. Could have drafted Calvin Throckmorton from Oregon, who could play tackle, guard, or center. He could play any one of those 3 positions. We probably wouldn't need him at center, but tackle or guard we're definitely going to need because we get injuries all the time. We need depth at those positions. And a versatile guy like that would be very, very useful. When it comes to the cornerback, there was another tight end. It was like Hunter Bryant or Harrison Bryant or something like that. We could have gotten undrafted free agency. He fell out of the draft too. Could have got him. We could have also gotten the defensive end. Shaheem Carter was a big name we should have picked up. He's safety / corner. We could have played both. Okay, and we played for Alabama. The Alabama pedigree alone should have been enough for us to pursue him. And then we had one other need we had was cornerback. We could have signed AJ Green and Lamar Jackson. Both of them fell out of the draft. And we could have got both of them at corner, or at least one of them. We went after neither one of them. So I do think we got some good picks. So the picks themselves are good, but the overall effort and the overall things we lost out on that we could have added to the roster, I think we did not do a good job. 4 out of all the undrafted players, we got 4. Maybe there's a rule on how many we're allowed to pick up. I have no idea. I don't think there is. Maybe there's something I'm missing. But overall, I'm not all too happy about how many guys we got in undrafted free agency. Because I think we could have got a lot more, especially at positions we needed that I just mentioned. So I will now go over the Washington Redskins schedule. So to recap, I think we did, when it comes to signing coaches, we got A+, A+ for Ron, A+ for Jack, and a B+ for Scott Turner. So overall, I give it an A+. Free agency, I get a B-. The draft, I get an A-. And then undrafted free agency is a C. And then I do want to go over one more thing. There are some free agents still out there we can sign now that we've gone through the draft and know what we do have and what we still need to fill some holes. So offensively, the only thing I'd say we can go get is a left tackle if we want to sit Shadiq Charles for a year, or maybe just get a left tackle to kind of mentor him while he starts. I wouldn't mind Donald Penn. He's not going to cost a lot, and we can sign him for one more year. He can just mentor Shadiq Charles. Or if we want to go crazy and start someone right now, I would go the route of going for Jason Peters. He would cost a little bit more money, but he would actually be a legitimate starter for a year. He is older, so that's why I say a year. But I would actually go the route of Donald Penn and just have him back, and just it'd be depth, and you can back up Shadiq Charles and kind of mentor him. And that's the route I would go that way. That's what I would do personally, Donald Penn, because then you don't have to worry about paying $10 million, and you don't have that. It doesn't affect the salary cap that rolls over. So it's really the only position on the offense I would consider adding depth to. For that reason, no receivers out there. There's no tight ends. I would sign. I heard the rumor that some people wanted to sign Delaney Walker. I would not. He has not been able to stay healthy. We already have one injury-prone tight end, and we got rid of 2 injury-prone tight ends this offseason. Why would we sign another one? I don't get that. But what else? Defense. Okay, so defense. We don't need defensive line. We don't need linebackers. The only 2 positions I would look at. Cornerback, which Logan Ryan is still out there. And I think Logan Ryan opposite of Kendall Fuller would be a much better look and having given us more options defensively than Logan Ryan or Kendall Fuller and having to rely on Darby or Fabian Monroe. Or even Jimmy Moore. I think Jimmy Moreland's better in a slot anyway, so he probably doesn't. That's probably not a big deal. But you never know. He could take strides and he could be good this year. You don't know that. But I think Logan Ryan would be a great pickup and add into the defensive mix there. And you can get him. I think you can get him on it'd be a lot of money, for like $10 million for 1 year. But I think you can get him and add him to the core of your defense for at least a year. And we draft someone next year to replace the other corner spot opposite of Kendall Fuller. And then the only other thing I could say is safety. There's Eric Reed out there. There's Eli Apple. Those are the only two players I would really get in free agency now to add a little bit more depth. If we don't get anyone, I understand why. We're just going to go with what we have. I think Juan's going to coach him up. I think that's his philosophy. And the last topic I want to talk about is our schedule. First, I'm going to say this. We get hosed every year on the schedule. We have to play the Eagles again. We've started 3 of the last 4 seasons against a divisional winner. I think it should be a rule that if you don't win your division, you shouldn't start against a divisional winner. I think that should just be a rule that you shouldn't start the season against a team that just won the division. Okay? It should have divisional winners winning or playing first. That way you're getting teams that have already had winning records, already getting a loss on the board. And the teams that haven't won last year, that should just be a rule that should be done. That you shouldn't be playing, if you did not win your division, you should be playing divisional winners. There's exactly an even number amount of divisions. Divisional winners should be playing each other first game of the season. But as usual, Redskins don't get that luxury of being able to not have to have they don't get that luxury. They got to play a divisional winner first game every year, and for some reason we always get stuck playing the freaking Eagles. We actually didn't play bad. We don't play them bad. We didn't play them bad last year. We didn't play them bad the year before. But it just seems like we always get fucking stuck playing the Eagles or another divisional winner like first game. 2 years ago we played, I think it was Arizona. But every year we've had the Eagles. Why do we have a divisional game first? No, if you're looking through the league, almost no one else has divisional games first. But for some reason, the Washington Redskins get it every freaking year, and it pisses me off. But I do think the Redskins will win this game, as much as I'm complaining. I think they can win this game. I think when it comes down to it, we have the better. We got accumulated better talent on defense. Better talent on defense. We have a good defensive coordinator, and I personally don't have any confidence in Carson Wentz's receiving core, and I think our defensive line can limit Miles. What's his name? It's not Miles Austin. Miles Sanders? Yeah, Miles Sanders. And I think he's like their biggest weapon right now. I think that he's their best offensive player right now, other than like Carson Wentz. And then Zach Ertz, you need to find a way to limit him. But I think the Redskins are going to do that with Jack Del Rio. He's a genius defensive coordinator. So I think that game can be won. I think we will win that game. I think the Eagles will come in way overconfident. They came in overconfident last year. And if it wasn't for one player, I can actually think that one player cost us the first game. And we looked like we were a playoff team to start the game. And then all of a sudden we couldn't do anything because gave up 3 50-yard touchdown passes. And they'll let you figure out who was actually responsible for that. Second game, Cardinals. They have a potent-ish offense. However, they don't have a good defense. And I think defense with COVID-19 and teams not being able to work well together, a good defense is going to be the indicator that a better indicator for success than a good offense. So I think that'll be beneficial to us early, is playing teams that don't have great defenses, and that our defense can limit their offense. Browns is going to be a tricky one. I think Browns are loaded up for the offensive line. I think they have good talent across the board on tight end and receiver. They have a solid running back. Kareem Hunt actually starts this year. So they are loaded at the offensive side of the ball, and they're going to give us problems. I think we get our first loss there. I think we win the first 2 games, get our first loss there. Ravens. I actually think I don't think the Ravens are going to do that hot this year. I think Lamar Jackson come back down to earth. They don't have a lot of good wide receivers on that team. That team needs wide receivers galore. They don't have any elite wide receivers. No one's going to blow your doors off. No one's going to blow top off the defense, so on and so forth. I think we're going to see a little bit of regression from him. I think with our defense, I think we'll be, and not to mention the Raven defense was okay last year, but it wasn't like the Ravens we've come to know and love. Well, I don't love them, but that people come to know and love when it comes to them. When it comes to like their years when they had what's that linebacker? Ray Lewis. Those kind of defenses. It wasn't that. It was a bend don't break defense. So I think we win that game. Rams. I think we win the Rams game. I think Jared Goff has been exposed as being not as good as people think. I think McVay is a really good coach, but I think that he's just been exposed, and I think losing Wade Phillips as a defensive coordinator was really crucial to them not having any success last year and being bad. They also got rid of the running back, Todd Gurley. I think he was like the heart and soul of the team, and whenever he just wasn't available, all of a sudden they didn't do hot. The Giants are going through a coaching change. They're going through a coaching change. So you got rookie offensive linemen that they're gonna have to get acclimated without a lot of practice. They don't have a good offensive line. I think our 4-man front is going to be able to negate Saquon Barkley, forcing Daniel Jones to throw the ball a lot. And I think with our pass rush, we're going to be able to get to him. And I don't think the Giants' defense is good enough to stop Haskins. He couldn't stop him last year. They really couldn't. If you watched, I was at that game. Haskins was throwing all over them, and then Case Keenum came in and threw all over them. We have a 40-something game. Because neither the Giants' defense wasn't very good, and the Redskins' defense wasn't very good. The difference is Redskins' defense is going to be very good this year. So I have us winning that. So far I only have us losing to the Browns. We could very easily lose to the Eagles and the Ravens, but I think I'm certain that the Cardinals, Rams, and Giants we're definitely going to win. Eagles, I'm like 50-50 on, but I always lean the Redskins wins 50-50. Ravens, I gave the reasons why I think so, but they could very easily have some guys. They're always a competitive team. So, but I think we're going to beat the Cardinals, the Rams, and the Giants. And then we have to play the Cowboys. Cowboys are going to be very tough. Cowboys did lose their All-Pro center, but they drafted a center. They added to their offense. I just don't think their defense is going to be as good as it was last year. So that might be why around this time, I think after playing two teams that don't have great defenses, I think Haskins is going to get the ball rolling on the offense, and hopefully it's that game where he kind of has like a really nice, against the Giants, he like has an explosion, and that's when Haskins really starts becoming our franchise quarterback. So playing three back-to-back defenses that aren't extremely well is going to help that. And then we play so I think we beat the Cowboys. I think our defense does just enough to stop them. Our offense does just enough to outscore them. And I think they're also going through a coaching change. I do think they got a good coach, don't get me wrong, but they are going through a significant coaching change. So that's a factor when it comes to how they're going to play as well. So for all we know, that this thing just goes sideways quick with Mike McCarthy. All right, Giants, I think we sweep the Giants. So I think we get the other win against the Giants. I just think they have too many question marks. They got too much new stuff going on. They don't have enough weapons to throw to. I don't know why you got rid of Beckham Jr. I get why he's kind of a headache, but he also is a good target for a young quarterback. He doesn't have a lot of targets, so that'll be interesting. But I think the Redskins will have enough to pull it out. I think they'll neutralize Barkley and force Daniel Jones to beat him with his arm, and it's not going to be enough. It's not going to be enough. And then if we go further down the schedule here, Lions, I don't think it's going to be a contest. I think we're going to pecker smack the Lions. I think after Haskins gets going, I think we're going to go against the Lions, and we're going to have a game where we actually put up a lot of points. We're going to have a couple games where we put up a lot of points, and then we're going to come back down to earth a little bit. We're going to have Lions and Bengals. We're going to beat both of them, and then we're going to lose to the Cowboys at the Cowboys. It's at Texas Stadium. It's on Thanksgiving. I don't want to lose this game, but I think we will. We always split with them. So that would be our second loss at this point. And then the Steelers, I don't know how Steelers are going to be. This is a very up in the air question. If they have Ben, they're probably going to beat us. If they don't have Ben and they're playing someone else other than that, it's in Pittsburgh. I might be at this game because me and my wife want to go to it, even though it's in December. It's going to be cold, but it's at 1:00 on a Sunday, so it's not too bad. But I'm going to say we lose this one. And the next one I'm going to say I'm going to think we pull off the upset against the 49ers. Redskins historically in the last few years have had we actually played them well last year. We lost 9-0. That's really because we couldn't hit field goals. Weather was bad too. That was a factor. But the 49ers don't really have a lot of wide receivers. Their defensive line's good, but I think we can find a way to neutralize their defensive line. And I don't trust Jimmy Garoppolo. I don't. If you do, good for you. I don't. But yeah, so Seahawks, I think we beat the Seahawks. Other than Russell Wilson, they don't have a great defense. They have a decent running game, but I think we can negate the running game. And then, like a lot of the things we're going to do this year is the Redskins are going to be able to negate a lot of teams' running attack. The 4-man defensive front, with the bodies we have, we're going to be able to negate a lot of running games. So we're going to force teams to throw, and then you're playing to our biggest strength on defense, which is our pass rush. So I think that's what the Redskins are going to do. And as long as our secondary can hold up and just at least be adequate and be okay, we're going to win a lot of games. And then the Panthers, I think we beat his old team. I think he beats them soundly. And then the Eagles, last game of the year. I'm not quite sure on this one. Here's why. I think I have us. Okay, definitively beating. Okay, here's who we definitively beat. We beat Cardinals, Rams, Giants twice. I think we split with the Cowboys for sure. We beat Lions. We beat the Bengals. Okay, let me just start over. Cardinals, that's 1 win. Rams, that's 2. Giants. Okay, we split with the Cowboys. We beat the Lions. We beat the Bengals. We definitely beat the Panthers. I think that's 8 games. I think we win at least 8 games. And then we beat the Seahawks. It's 9. And we split with the Eagles. That's 10. And I think our definitive losses here, we definitively lose. I think we split with everyone in our division. I really do think that. So right there is 3 wins. I think we definitively lose to... I mean, the Browns... It can go either way with the Browns. But Browns and Ravens, we definitively lose. Okay? I think we lose them both. If I'm being honest. Like I said, we split with the Cowboys. We lose to the Steelers. We lose to the 49ers. And I guess... okay, so like I said, we split with the Eagles. So we could go 9-7. This schedule, we can easily win a handful of these. Like I said, we have a sweet spot in the schedule. If we're at a decent time, we can get some momentum. And as much as I don't like playing a divisional winner, the first game of the season, I think it really should be a freaking rule that I can't stand. There should be no divisional games first game of the season. You need to have your teams revved up and ready to play by the time you get to that point. By the time we get to that point in the season. But yeah, I think that's what the Redskins can do. I think we can go... I can easily make a case for us going 8-8. People don't like the Browns, so if you don't like the Browns, I think the Browns are going to be a little bit better this year. They're going to have a balanced back year. Cardinals, Rams. Giants twice. I think we're going to sweep the Giants. I really do. We're going to split with the Cowboys, so there's 5. We'll split with the Eagles, so there's 6. Lions, Bengals, and Panthers. So at the very least, 9 wins. I think we win at least 9 games. I would be stoked to have 8-8, but 9 wins could get us in the playoffs as a wild card, especially with the 17 wild card now, or 17 playoff. So that's my video. The Washington Redskins. I went over everything already. I went over how I think we're gonna do with the grades I gave for everything. I actually don't hate the schedule. The only problem I have with the schedule is if we're not doing too hot by a week. What week is this? By the time we play the Cowboys on what's it called? Thanksgiving, we're gonna have a really tough time because we're gonna have Cowboys, Steelers, 49ers, Seahawks. Luckily, the Seahawks are at Washington, so that's why I think we have a little bit of advantage. So I think we can squeeze that. I think we can etch out 10 wins. One last recap. Okay, Eagles week 1. I'm just gonna say we lose that. Okay. I'm gonna say we win that because we're gonna split with them, and it's at Washington. Okay. So apparently there's not gonna be a lot of fans. So I think we win that one. I think we beat the Cardinals. I think we lose to the Browns, so we're 2-1 at this point. I think we lose to the Ravens. We beat the Rams. We beat the Giants. I think we beat the Cowboys. We're gonna lose to them on Thanksgiving. I think we beat the Giants. We beat the Lions. Scroll down. Beat the Bengals. So we could literally be 8-2. We could be. I mean, I'm looking way wrong here. I don't think this is going to happen. 8-2. That seems very optimistic to me. Lose the Cowboys. Lose the Steelers. Lose the 49ers. Beat Seahawks. Beat Panthers. lose to the Eagles. So 10-6. Some games that can be swing games. The Browns could easily be swing games. We could swing that one the other way. We can win every game. That's the thing. I think every team's beatable. And with a good coach, I mean, anything's possible. The Redskins have been crazy in the last few years where they'll play down to the level of the competition. I don't think that happens with Ron Rivera. I think Ron Rivera is a good enough coach where he puts them peaking at every game to the best of his ability, and has everyone playing to the best of their ability. I think that this is a different mentality when it comes to that. Last few years we've gone like 9-7, 8-7-1, 7-9, 7-9, and then like last year was 3-13. When you get rid of someone like Bruce Allen, I think it raises a lot more people's optimism. I think that alone is going to gives us a couple wins. I think the coaching staff and the front office on the same page. The players are going to be on the same page. We don't have controversy. I don't know of any controversy we have right now. We got rid of all the problems. We got rid of Bruce Allen. We got rid of Trent. We don't have the problems that we had the last few years. So I'm very optimistic about this season. I'm going to say this, and I was watching this before I got on here, and it's like just frustrates me listening to this. I really am just tired of listening to the Junks. They are the most negative, hateful Redskin fans. With fans like them, who needs opponents? Seriously, they are the most hateful fans I've ever talked about in my life. They are so negative about the Washington Redskins. And the fact that they have like a talk show about it every day where they can just be so freaking negative, it's just horrible. If you watch my podcast I did with on the Warpath, we talked about this at nauseum. They are just so negative about the Washington Redskins. You change a lot of things. You gotta expect change. You can't have all this change and brag about, oh, we got Ron Rivera, oh, we got Chase Young, oh, but we're still gonna go 3-13. That doesn't make any freaking sense. Then stop talking about all the good stuff we do and then still say we're gonna suck. It doesn't make sense. That's my video. This is Redskins Rant. Hail to the Redskins. Like my video, subscribe to my channel, and leave a comment down below. What do you think we did this offseason? What was good? What do you think was bad? What do you think of our schedule? Do you think I'm overzealous and overconfident in what we can do this year? I'm always going to be overconfident when it comes to gauging our team. I am always going to do that. I will not be apologetic at all about that. But 8-8 is the baseline for me. That's the minimum we need to hit. I'm not one of these people who thinks we need to double our wins. That would be nice, I guess. If you're looking for a minimum in improvement, but I think 8-8 should be where we're at. I think last year was an aberration and we fell to 3-13. That wasn't who we are. I think we're more of an 8-8 team at heart. Initially, last year we should have been an 8-8 team at least. So I think we need to get back to at least 8-8 and build from there. So progression to the mean, so to speak. This is JD. Hail to the Redskins. See ya.